Oh, 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 oh. This is the circle of life.
Hi, welcome to Circle of Life. In this show, we are going to feature some of the most prominent and distinguished persons. We are going to talk about the milestones they have covered, their present, and the way they look at their future. Today in our studios, we have with us one and only Nasir Abdullah. Before we start our chit chat, let me just give you a glimpse of his achievements, his past achievements he's had in his life. Hi Nasir.
Hi.
You've been one of the hottest male models in the past, right? And you were envy of many young men and teenagers for the ads you did and the kind of attention you grabbed. Now, I want to ask you straight away, how does it feel to be an aging man in a country of young people?
Well, fortunately, the country has many other older people like me and older than me, and that's fine. But aging process is, there it is. And I must say, I feel okay. I feel good. And my health has been reasonably good with an occasional little damadole here and there. But I feel okay, actually. And it's nice to see the youngsters with all this energy and their rearing to go, and so that is something that I miss a little bit, that
right.
explosion of energy which is always happening. Now I need to rest a little more, I need a break, I need to have a nap, but otherwise it feels good. It's been a great journey. It's been very nice, fairly peaceful and joyous and rewarding, and I've had some very good times on the whole, working with very, very, very good people, right. Creative people, directors and story writers and everything.
Yes. So you've worked a lot behind the scenes before you became a model, but you became popular, you became famous due to your modeling, the kind of modeling you did. That's how you shot off to fame. Do you have any fond memories of those modeling days?
Yeah, I have some of the memories which are not very fond. So I will talk about that in a minute, a minute. And that is that initially I was a very nervous guy because I didn't know how to pose. I had not done any course in acting or reacting. And so I was like really scared and I was like really perspiring. So I looked really paranoid in the photos that they took. So, but then it took a while to understand, okay, it isn't a big deal, just relax. And even if you can't laugh, then think of a joke and laugh so that they can take a proper photo. So yes, it felt very, very good. And sometimes it was fun. And then sometimes when the ad came out very well, I was obviously very pleased.
Right. Your Monte Carlo ad, which you did some more than 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And that ad became like very, very popular, especially the youngsters those days.
Yeah.
There was a scene in the ad where I guess you're giving a blank call to your girlfriend.
Yes.
So after that, ad, did you start getting blank calls yourself or not?
Actually, I did, but not very many. There was one person who was fooling around with me.
Right.
And so that was another story. But yeah, I mean, that film was apparently it had this very well-known romantic song by George Benson called Nothing's Gonna Change My Love for You.
Right.
It was a long film of about 18 shots. It took 6 days to make. I'm used to an ad film being done in one day. 8 hours maximum is done. So I just worked on forever. There were so many scenes to do. Very enjoyable experience and a lot of hard work for everybody. Not for us because the models are really treated very well. They are kept in an air-conditioned room and, everything to eat and drink, whatever is. So yeah, I mean, It was fun.
So, but the days of blank calls are over. Now you have
Yes.
cell phones and youth are glued to phones all the time. But let me ask you, you belong to an age where you used to dress up like a gentleman, very British and very, proper. But these days you find youths, they're exposed to the world of, fashion and internet, and they dress up in a very stylized manner. How do you see that change?
Yeah, fashion has gone rather bizarre now. But we have to remember that when we were growing up, when the scene about the bell bottoms, it came, and that kind of dressing, our parents thought, oh my God, these guys have gone mad. Now it's our turn to feel that way about our children.
Now, my next question to you would be, what was your most memorable moment in life?
Well, whenever an advertisement did very well, that used to bring me a lot of joy. And I also remember I played the red and white man for the cigarettes. At that time, it was allowed in the movie theaters. So I replaced Raj Babbar for the red and white man. They wanted a change. They wanted more like a James Bondy thing.
Right.
A man who does not indulge in physical violence.
So, tell us something about your background. You are essentially a Delhiite, but so about your background, where did you go to school?
Well, I was born in Old Delhi, very close to Chandni Chowk, and we came to New Delhi around 65 or something, 64, 63. And then I went to Delhi Public School. I did my stuff. I went to Stephens. I did history honors. So history is still a mystery to me. I don't know what I did. It wasn't great. And then,
You
so
still must be having Stephanian friends.
some of them. Shashi Tharoor was a year my senior.
Okay.
So I passed out in 1976. It was a long time ago. You were not born then, like a good boy. So so it was interesting, and I didn't know very much what to do at that time. You didn't have very many choices about what to do. Then I started to work, and I did a stint in a costume jewelry firm, which was known to me, some of my friends. And then I ran a restaurant called Al Kausar. It was a drive-in barbecue place.
It's a very popular sort of
it did
restaurant.
very
once upon a
well.
time.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't do so well. I could have made it do much more, but I was not very sure of myself. But it was great food. The food was amazing. And I was not the chef, so I don't want to take the credit. But the food was from the Moria Hotel. There was a gentleman who was in charge of the barbecue, and he used to make our food. Amazing. So it did reasonably good. Then I got an offer to work on Gandhi behind the camera as a location
big
manager.
one. Yes, Attenborough.
So Sir Attenborough. This was in 80. So I started working with them, and it was a great experience. I was one of the location managers, but these Englishmen, they make you work so hard. I mean, I used to go at 8:30, 9, and that was early for me. To the Ashoka Hotel office from my home. And I used to curse myself, where have you got to 7 to? And I was like, then it became 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 in the morning. Then when they started shooting, it was 5, 4 in the morning, the Jeep would come to pick me up in winters, November. I was like, oh my God, no. But it was excellent because I was a bit of a lazy guy. So these Brits, they made me work so hard that I became a very reformed guy. And my mother couldn't believe it because she thought I'm a lazy guy, sust guy. So they had a set in the Faridabad area of the ashram scenes with Gandhi. So that was a very long affair. So they had scenes, they had a set of the ashram there. And a lot of stuff they did in Delhi. For example, they disguised a railway station near the Dholakua area as a station in South Africa, where Mahatma Gandhi was thrown out of the train by the ticket collector, who's a British guy.
Now let's talk about your stint in the movies. You're a model turned actor, and you are pretty well known for your performance in film Mitra. The
Yes,
Friend,
I got lucky with that.
which won a national award.
3.
As well. 3 national awards. But during your career as an actor, you've never got the opportunity to do a comedy role. Why is that?
Good question. Okay, you've already gauged that I'm a funny guy. I can see that on your face. You have that smile on your face. I know, but obviously you have a good way to read people. Yes, I am quite funny, and I've been saying it off and on as a joke in my other interviews and the debates that I'm waiting for the directors to discover my funny bone.
Right.
That I'm a funny guy before I lose it.
Right.
इससे पहले कि मेरी जो अंदर जो कॉमेडी है ख़त्म हो जाए, सूख जाए, आप मुझे प्लीज़ इस्तेमाल करें क्योंकि मजाक करना मुझे अच्छा लगता है.
Okay. So another thing which you wanted to do in your life is direct a film, but you never got an opportunity.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, if you get an opportunity, what would your film be about?
Okay. The truth is, I didn't want to direct a movie. I want to direct short public service films.
Okay.
And I have a few here which I will leave behind for you to decide what. So one film is 20 seconds long, maybe 30 maximum if you extend it. One film is a minute long, social services, social causes. And one film is 2 minutes long.
Okay.
The 2 minute long film is about the issue about the harassment, the molestation and the rape of our women.
Right.
ये मैंने निर्भया का जब हुआ था केस उसके बाद मैं बनाई थी. I showed it to Sheila Dikshit ji.
Right.
She fell on her face because it had a twist in it. And मैं actually भूल गया, आपको दिखाना भूल जाता हूँ मैं. And she wanted to be a part of it. She wanted this film to be made properly and shown in the movie theater.
Right.
2 minute की film थी, you can't show it on the TV.
Yes.
Because it's very expensive, etc. But वो फिर कुछ ऐसी बाधाएं आई, कुछ ऐसी आई, and then it did not happen. Then she asked me to do something else for the International Women's Day in March, जो आने वाला था.
Okay.
But she loved it. So that is my dream. That is my plan. I have some ideas to make a film, and I would like to, but it hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
आसान काम नहीं होता, लेकिन in this day and age, because filmmaking has really changed a lot dramatically.
Yes.
You can make a film of 1 hour and 10 minutes or less and enter it into a film festival or even a feature film ka segment.
Right.
And be accepted and pull it off, as you're saying. So I'd like to do that, and I will leave those films for you to show to your audience if they're interested, just for them to understand how my mind works.
Right.
And you will also know a bit better.
Yeah. If you're not a model or an actor, what would you have been?
Maybe a musician, maybe a saint, maybe a sadhu. What else can I say? Maybe a dancer too, because I was quite nimble on my feet. You know, I was also an athlete many years ago.
Okay.
So actually, two, three options. I mean, music is another thing that I enjoyed listening to, and then also creating. So I did some amount of the practice, and but also the idea of understanding God, having illumination. I like that idea. I like the idea of understanding God, and I think in every religion. They hint on it. They don't hint on it. They say that is the soul, the purpose of our birth.
Right.
To realize your true nature. You realize your true nature.
So you have a very strong spiritual side to yourself, like Richard Gere. No? That
Maybe.
kind of spiritualism?
Yeah, Richard Gere is very much into it. I can see. I also happened to meet him once. I happened to bump into him. And I met Anushka Shankar there, the daughter of. So she was my fan. She said, I don't have to tell you this, but Richard Gere was the chief guest for something at the Eden Gardens not Eden Gardens, Mahalakshmi Gardens near the race course for this huge thing about HIV, whatever. So he was the chief guest. So all the Parmeshwar go there, and everybody was to perform. So the entire film industry came there. Amitabh Bachchan was just one of them. Everybody came there later. So I met Anushka there, and she was like, "Hi, how was?" She talked to me like she was my fan. And I was like, she said, "We saw your film, Mitra, my friend." And what is his name? Ravi ji. They call him Ravi ji. Ravi ji. We watched your film, and this is the first time in the history of our house that we watched a film in the evening, and next morning after breakfast, we watched it again.
Really?
So she told me this at the Taj Hotel, where I was for some other event, and she had come to escort Richard Gere back home. to the hotel, and she told me all this. तो मैं इतना खुश हुआ, I almost wanted to dash up into the pool and jump inside the swimming pool.
Right.
So then she invited me for this, and she played the stuff, and she played her. There were so many performers there. It was a big event.
Yeah. Talking of music instruments, we've heard you play flute very well. Who were you inspired by? Was it Ian Anderson? Was it Hari Prasad Chaurasia, or somebody else?
Well, I watched Hari Prasad and I watched Ian Anderson. Very strange that you mentioned two of the greatest legends of the musical world in that department. But I never thought of playing like them. What I really wanted to play was the melodies that I knew.
Right.
So like Bollywood songs and old filmy songs. In those days, they were very melodious, All the songs by Mohammed Rafi, Lata Mangeshkar, Mukesh, Kishore, wonderful songs.
Right.
So I tried, and one day I got one song after a long struggle. I didn't have a teacher, so that's why I don't play so well. So, and I got one song, then I got one more, and then I became good, and not so bad. But if I'd had a teacher, I could have been a professional player.
Oh,
but
that's amazing. You learned it on your own.
Yeah, so I didn't.
Nasir Sahab, we did an interview with Nasiruddin Shah recently.
Okay.
And he told us that he's learning flute from Raghuveer Yadav.
Oh my God, Nasir, I have to try. Yeah, I have to show off to him because he and I know each other a lot.
Yeah.
And I think he's a great man. He's a gentleman and he's a scholar and he's just an amazing, he's an amazing gift to humanity. I mean, to India, he's one of the greatest actors. And he was actually somebody who had a speech problem. He used to have a huge speech problem. And I know that for a fact. And somehow he managed, his passion. Now, here is the interesting part. His passion to be an actor, to perform, was so strong that he didn't allow the speech impediment to sabotage his desire or his dream. I had a bit of a problem too, and I got very shaken. He got shaken, but he kept up the resolve. He knew that he could make it. So there are two options when you have a speech problem. You either run or you stay. You stay and fight.
Right. Absolutely.
Fight or flight.
Right.
So I went for flight. He went for fight. And he became one of the greatest actors ever. Amazing man.
Yes. So now talking about we've asked you about your best moments in life.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your worst moments.
Okay, my God, yes.
Because we are getting philosophical. The name of our show is Circle of Life, so.
Well, one of the worst was that I suddenly had a bout of, a kind of a seizure in the mouth, my mouth, my tongue got locked. I had to say some lines, and I suddenly got stuck. So they all began to laugh. He said, "What happened to you?"
Oh.
And it was so ultimately I didn't do that film. I had a very, very small scene. And that was very depressing because I'd learned everything. I thought it will be fine, but I was not sure of myself that day.
Right.
And I was a little bit, I think, disturbed about some other things. Plus, when you have not worked for a long time and you go on the set for the first time, you're not very sure of yourself.
Yeah, you're shaky kind of.
It is like learning to skate all over again, you're like, So I got a little that. And once I did a film for a Sharbat ad where I'd recently shaved my head off. And then, I wasn't getting much work, obviously. And anyway, I didn't get much work. So somebody approached me and I said, "Oh, I can wear a wig." Said, "Okay, you can." And I showed them a photo with the wig, which was not looking too bad. And they said, "Okay." But when I wore the wig, it was very bad in Udaipur, and I had to play a Maharaja.
Okay.
So there was a shot with the turban, So that I could handle with the turban. The wig didn't have. But later, for the contemporary days, I was wearing a shirt, pant, and sitting with this wig. There were people behind me in the theater saying, "Arey, ye to wig lagaya hua hai." So I felt like I wanted to hide in my seat. There are like 300 people watching the wig, looking so obvious because the wig actually collapsed.
Oh.
Because I took it from Delhi to Udaipur.
Okay.
And it was a road trip, so I was like, the wig sort of collapsed. So that is a bad moment for me.
Now, if you had to live your life all over again, would you change it in any way?
Yeah, some things for sure, because I think I was quite inhibited. I was not sure of myself. I used to sabotage my own plans.
Oh.
अपने ही पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मार देना, sort of. Not exactly, but I used to myself find a way out not to do something that I wanted to do. Say,
Right.
it was an idea, say, and I would not. I would, theek hai, and I would procrastinate. So that is something I would like to, if I were to be reborn, I would be more in tune with what I should do, and I would do it rather than procrastinate and wait and say, nahi yaar, ye ho jayega, and get into some negativity maybe, and then slowly the interest would fall. So that is something I don't like, and there were many ideas I had which I did not follow up
Okay.
in life. So I'd like to do that for sure.
Yeah. Talking about tunes, we want to request you to play a tune for us on
Wow.
the flute.
Okay, this one I know very, very well. I mean, it's my like takiya kalam, as they say, rata hua maine, so I don't make very many mistakes on that.
Please go
The
ahead.
song is Piya To Se Naina Lage Re.
Wow.
All the girls like it, so all the ladies from the age of 16 to 160. So it's from Guide,
Yes.
and Vaidya Rahman sings it in the movie, but Lata Mangeshkar is the singer, I believe. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Amazing. Doesn't look like that you've not been trained by anybody.
Well, but when you keep on practicing, it
Yeah.
gets a bit better. I still have some areas I felt it where I need to rehearse, because I don't rehearse enough.
Tell us, how have you evolved? How have you matured as a person?
Yeah.
Are there any, how do you see any transformation in your basic character traits?
Yeah, a little bit. But what I do see is that I now at my age, I'm over 60 now. At my age, I see when I look back, I see a lot of things that I shouldn't have done, I shouldn't have been, I shouldn't have behaved with. Because when you're a bit younger, you have a tendency to be a little arrogant and a bit careless. And I think you can also understand that. You're not that old. But if you were to look back 20 years earlier, you were a different sort of person, maybe had, different ideas, a bit stubborn, a bit arrogant, a bit stupid, a bit everything, even a bit temperamental, a little mean, a little non-caring. All these things are there in us.
Yes.
So I had a bit of all that, and I didn't really care. And I was not actually inspired very much by the people around me, including my father. He was a nice man, but he was also busy in his own life. That is fine. But there are certain, the qualities you need to have of a kind of a rakh-rakhao, as they say, kind of stability, to speak in a proper manner, to not go all over the place and hoo, ha, ha, he, and always making fun and, non-caring attitude about life, which up to a point is okay, but I overdid it, in my opinion.
Okay.
So when I look back, I see, I'm like, I did that. I can't believe it. Arey, maine ye kiya tha. Oh, I feel bad about it. I feel ashamed.
Right.
I feel embarrassed. I feel I actually wish I had not done it. कभी और हर रोज आते हैं ये मुझे ख्याल 3-4 तो अच्छे आते हैं 20 साल पुराने 10 साल पुराने इवन 5 साल पुराने बट 20 साल 30 साल 35 साल 20 साल 25 साल आते हैं ख्याल कि अरे ये क्या सारी फिल्म आ जाती है ये क्या अरे मैंने ये किया oh my God I can't believe it so that is what is happening. I do very small roles as well. Om Shanti Om mein I had a role which only lasted for 15 seconds.
Really?
Maybe 18. घड़ी में देखा 18 सेकंड गया नासिर मैंने कर लिया मैंने कहा चलो क्या है और क्या कर रहा है घर में वैसे और कौन से मेरा करोड़ों का बिजनेस चल रहा
Right.
तो मैं हूं ना में आई हैड अ सीन वेयर तो शाहरुख ने मुझे बताया बाद में कि तुम्हारी आंखों के बीच में मारनी थी उन्होंने गोली वो जो शॉट था यहाँ पे तो शाहरुख खान ने कहा कि मैंने उनसे कहा कि नासिर इज सच अ स्वीट गाय व्हाई डू यू वांट टू डिसफिगर हिज फेस उसकी शक्ल को बिगाड़ना क्यों चाहते हो तुम तो इससे फिर उन्होंने कहा चलो ठीक है यहाँ मार दे
What are your thoughts on this the communal polarization which is happening in the country? You've seen countries through the decades. How do you see this trend?
Well, the problem has been there for many years since actually before the partition and especially after, but it has been always sort of kept under the carpet and under whatever. Nothing very, very serious has happened. There have been these occasional whatever flare-ups. But, I just see it as a need to project something and they have their own point of view. And if somebody is doing it, he's doing it because there is a reason. They want to bring back the glory of their, the culture to stay. Say within India. So India had a partition on the basis of whatever. So it's done. And they have a right to do that. They have a right to say we are essentially Bharatiya, etc., etc. So anybody who goes against that, they don't like it anymore. They are feeling very, very strongly about that. So, I mean, I have a very, very clear attitude about this whole thing. I believe that as regards one's faith, one should be allowed to practice any faith that they want to. It's very simple. If you have the right to choose your job, if you have the right to choose your wife, you don't have the right to choose your parents, I know, but you have the right to choose to be a part of the system, a religion that appeals to you. So if you're dissatisfied with anything you are a part of, you should be allowed, there should be nobody to stop you. You don't like it, go ahead.
It's very personal.
If you can decide where you want to eat, where you want to sleep, what work you want to do, you should be allowed. God is one anyway.
Right.
So which God you go, how does that mean anything for anybody?
Right. So you clearly, you are a very spiritual person. Do you fear death?
Do I fear death? Oh my goodness, okay. A little bit, but as the days go along, I don't fear it so much. Earlier, I used to fear the death of my parents. And I used to think of it. For 25 years, I was thinking, oh my God. And then, one day they died. So I thought 25 years of my life I wasted being afraid. Not a good idea. Like, it's not a big deal. It's happened. It happened one day.
Right.
But I suffered for many a day.
Yes.
So, frankly, yes. But what I actually fear is unnecessary pain and discomfort caused to myself and caused to other people around me, who have to worry about me, because I've been through stuff where my older brother was very sick for a while. He was in the ICU. So it's a very tense and hard time. So I would like to die after having my breakfast at about 9:30. So that I have the attack. So when they take me to hospital, as soon as I come, they say, oh, sorry, he's gone. So अच्छा होगा हॉस्पिटल भी पहुंचे, एडमिट भी ना कराना पड़ेगा, खर्चा भी नहीं हुआ उनका, बॉडी को वापस ले आए, डेथ का सर्टिफिकेट भी आसानी से मिल जाएगा कि जी ये आए थे, ये था, थोड़े से जिंदा थे, अब टोटली आउट हैं, बाय बाय, गुड लक, थैंक यू वेरी मच. So I don't fear death anymore much, but there's always a feeling a little bit, but I'm okay with it somewhere. I'm okay with it because I also see it as the next level. So my line about death is like a tooth extraction. दांत निकालते हैं ना, it's like होता है, but and you'd be lucky if you get anesthesia. अगर ये कि tooth extraction बगैर anesthesia के हो तो ज़्यादा चीखें निकलेंगी, और extraction अगर anesthesia के साथ हो तो हल्का सा नम सा feeling आता है कि हाँ अच्छा कुछ जा रहा है, हाँ कुछ खास नहीं है. You don't shout, you know, like so it would be nice. I would like to go with anesthesia with कि तकलीफ ना हो. That is nice. I don't like the idea of tubes and pain. ऐसे पड़े हुए हजारों तार लगे हुए.
Actually, it's just a question. We don't want you to die.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know. But you are doing a wonderful thing. You're asking me about things that are very much a part of life. Death is a part of life. It is not apart from life. It is there. Anybody who's born has to go. Yeah. Thank you very much. So it's a very good question, and I think everybody should ask. And I think in the Qur'an somewhere, the Prophet also said something that he will be blessed or something. It is good to think of death at least twice a day.
Yes, that's right.
So that you don't get too sort of carried away. मैं ये वो करूँगा, वो शेख चिल्ली के था ना, वहाँ पहुँचेगा मालूमा आधे रास्ते तो मौत इंतजार कर रही है. Hello, remember me? तो फिर क्या फायदा? But it is good to have a mature attitude.
Right. One last question.
Janab.
You've been a youth icon, What would be your advice to the Indian youth?
Oh, yes. I think I can give some advice for sure. सोच के बताऊं, ऐसे बता दूं? Okay, ऐसे ही बता देता हूं. Okay. Remember to think a lot. Remember to consult the truths from your holy books. Remember the words of the great saints because they understood life and they were our best guides. By that I mean all the avatars, all the great saints, all the great Maharishis, be it Sri Yogananda, Sri Aurobindo, Sri Ramana Maharishi, Satya Sai Baba of Shirdi, Zoroaster, our prophet, and the great saints from the Christian faith, Lord Buddha, amazing. I mean, he actually experienced life. He experienced the truth. He wanted to know the truth, and he spent his entire life dedicated to searching the truth. Finally, he got it, and it was an interesting journey too.
Right.
And amazing man. So because he understood life and he told us what it's all about.
Yes.
So he told us the path. So follow the path. Follow the path prescribed. Always remember that. And the one thing very important is the aspect of non-violence, the aspect of not wanting to inadvertently hurt anybody, deliberately or otherwise, to shame anybody, to get what you want at any cost, to cause anybody any stress or strain. So, because you must remember that ultimately the inner growth, the you inside, has to be always alive and well and actually guiding you, because we forget mostly, and I did also. Now it is not so bad because as I grow older, I'm more aware, because we need to be guided by this divine intelligence, and everything is out there for you to consult and use as you tread on the path of life. And I obviously wish you all the best and good luck.
Thank you. It was a pleasure speaking to you, Nasir.
Likewise.
And thanks for being in our studios. So this was a Circle of Life with Nasir Abdullah. We'll be back very soon with an equally interesting personality. Till then, goodbye.
oh, 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 oh. This is the circle of life.